All right, good morning, everybody. So we are now on our literature and reading arts of the summer scramble term. So we're going to talk a little bit about a very important skill for any kind of reading, especially nonfiction. In particular nonfiction. So that way we want to determine if the person who is writing or speaking is expressing a fact or an opinion. The difference, facts can be verified, opinions cannot. They're based on personal preference. So we're gonna look at this little warm up. And then I want you guys to write out one fact and one opinion yourselves. So, it could be like, say someone's mom is bad. You're a terrible student. Or then they could say, you got 3 Ds this semester. I know you can do better. But the main thing, you got 3 Ds. So which one would be fact? They got 3 Ds. That's the fact. That's the proof. It can be verified. But you're a terrible student is an opinion. Maybe they're a good student. They just got distracted. So that's the kind of things I want you guys to think about writing one of those in a moment. Just a easy peasy fact or opinion first, whatever you prefer, and then an easy peasy opinion, and then an easy peasy opinion or fact. I'm sorry, do whatever order you want. Let's do fact first, opinion second. So here's one, and I think everyone's good with this skill, but sometimes we need to remind ourselves that what can really sound like a fact is just the person being very convincing and very authoritative, and so they make their opinions sound like fact when they're in fact not, because they cannot be verified and they're a matter of personal preference. All right, so let's look at this one real quick. I think you can all see this. Movies are generally more interesting than books. So what would we consider that? I'll look in the chat, see what you guys think about that. Or you can speak out. I get opinion, and opinion. Excellent. Yes. Says who, right? Whose personal preference? Some people love books. They're very personal. There's no one else there. They're quiet. You have your own imagination of what's happening, the setting, etc. How people look. You imagine it in your head. Other people like movies. Big bang, boom, nice and packaged, sound, video, picture, the whole 9 yards. Good. In Arizona, smoking in public places against the law. Is this something we can verify? Fact or opinion? Fact, fact, fact. Excellent. Oh, wait. This last one. I want to make sure I'm getting the right message, the right chat for the question. Is smoking in public place? Yes, it's a fact. It can be, you can look on the law books. It's not that hard to look up laws, actually. I mean, it's hard because they're written so strangely with so many legalese, but you can actually look up like any law you want, if you want to, through the Arizona legislature website. So you could check that, you could verify it. Fact. Shortage of science teachers in state of Florida, fact or opinion? Is something we could look up? Fact or opinion, everybody? You can shout it out or chat it, please. Yes, 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 fact or opinion? I think we got a new fact from Charity. The other two, I'm not hearing from you. Victoria, fact or opinion? Fact, thank you, Lauren. Is it a fact? Can you look it up? Can you check? Do they keep records or is it checkable? Even if they don't keep records, it would theoretically be checkable. They just see how many employment ads are for teachers. So yes, fact. All right. So we'll go on to our next activity. But first, please put in the chat. Let's start with a fact. One fact, please. Really simple. Could be anything that can be verified. It could be your test score. It could be anything. So let me see one fact from you guys, please. I'll put one in. Here's one. Aztec, we're the first people to discover chocolate. Awesome, I love that. Yes, that is verifiable. It's a fact that can be true or false. Sometimes history changes its mind because they dig up something else and they're like, oh my God, they had this first. But as far as history is documented thus far, yes, that is a verifiable fact that can be proven. Let me get two more facts. I've got one, Victoria has one, Lauren. Charity. You see, if smoking is bad for your health. That used to be kind of an opinion, but lately it's been verified in many studies. Yes, they have proven for your health is a little vague, but yes, smoking is potentially harmful to your health. Maybe some old codgers who've been smoking their entire life and it really hasn't affected their health. So your is a little ambiguous, but okay. Let's retype that. Smoking causes cancer. Can cause cancer. Yeah, that works. Okay, and let's have an opinion. Good job. And opinions can be just like horrible. I mean, you could just be say terrible things like, you suck or something, but it can also sound more like facts. Let me write one. You guys write one too. Deadpool's the greatest superhero ever. Okay, that's good. I don't even know who that is because I'm so like old and out of it, but I love it. Deadpool, great name. Get a cup of caffeine is good for you in the morning. Okay, that's an opinion, because maybe it's not good for somebody. Maybe it's good for others in the morning. Boys rule, girls drool. Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, opinions are pretty easy. We'll look and see how some of them are harder when they make them sound like facts. Let me have one more. Charity. Oh, Charity, I got you. All right. Boys rule, girls drool. That's horrible. All right. So let me go back to our, all this stuff is on our campus, of course. So I think you can see the summer scramble. Let me share it, make sure. Okay, so we have summer scramble. Hello, Patrice. Do you need a sign-in sheet? Let me do that first. We're talking about facts and opinions. Please think of one of your own. So we can look at that. Hi. Good job. Yeah, but when you get settled, do you see the chat? We're asking each person to do a fact and one fact and one opinion. That's what our classes today is about, fact and opinion. So we'll go on. All right, so let's read here, getting to the facts. The idea the author is presenting to you, it's a claim. That's a good way of looking at it. Evidence, the information supported you in support of the claim. How do you know this is accurate? So that's important too. Not every website is accurate. You really can't believe everything you read. I know someone who does that. He believes everything he reads. And I'm like, Brendan, you really got to think about who's writing it, why they're writing it. Okay, self-publishing is great, but on the other hand, it isn't fact checked, right? Publications like newspapers and so forth are fact checked, and they get in trouble if they print something that's not true. So how do you know it's accurate? That's important. The reasoning, that's a big word in the GED now, reasoning. Thinking about something, basically, finding reasons. The information that explains why the evidence supports the claim. The information that explains why. Why is that the truth? Why is that the case? What links the evidence to the claim? Is it valid? So that's an interesting thing. What links? Maybe it's true, but it doesn't have anything to do directly with the claim. Here is our little quickie. If you just got on, you can do that real fast. Now, I'm hoping that you guys can see this because it's a little hard to see, but this is such a good book that I've been raving about last semester, which is 10 Steps to Advancing College Reading. If you do that book, you'll be like the best reader on the planet. Okay, fact or opinion, right? Is that a fact or opinion, Dee?
Opinion.
Thank you. So that was an opinion. But in any case, this is something taught in a lot of colleges for remedial reading, like someone gets to college and they're just not quite there yet with their reading. If you do the entire book, it would take a while, but it would commit you to being a very much improved reader, let's say that. So really is great for reading and other skills like fact and opinion. Let's do the first one together. And then I'm going to leave that to you all to do on your own. If you take a notebook or a piece of paper and put the name of the test. So this is, mastery test 1, put that down. And then put the A and then put the number of each question and then do what you would do if you had the book and you were writing in the book. So let's do the first one together. All right, the directions: identify facts with an F, opinions with an O, and the one combination of fact and opinion with an F plus O. What do they mean, the one? The title of the book. Yes, I will definitely give you that title, Victoria, in a minute. What does it mean by one? One combination. One combination of fact and opinion. Does anyone get that?
One that has like both.
There's just one answer that has both.
Yeah.
First I read that and I was like, All right. Local TV news shows devote too much coverage to violent crimes, accidents, and fires. Fact or opinion?
Opinion.
Opinion. Thank you. The percentage of people who get their news from the internet is rising, while the percentage of broadcast news viewers is declining. Fact. So this can be verified, can be checked. Everybody agree that that's a fact? Thank you, Charity. High school students should be required, should is a big kind of clue word, right? Should be required to study a foreign language. Fact or opinion? Is that something we can verify?
Opinion.
Opinion. Although it is now considered a dead language, Latin was a language of the Roman Empire and later the Roman Catholic Church. Fact. We can verify that. By looking at all the things they wrote and records, historical records. Some American presidents were large men. Grover Cleveland's nieces and nephews called him Uncle Jumbo. William Howard Taft tipped the scales at 330 pounds. Fact or opinion? Fact, fact, fact. Thank you. You can verify that. The records were kept by his doctor or someone. Both Grover Cleveland and William Howard Taft rank as above average presidents. Fact or opinion? Above average presidents. In what? You know what I mean? Just overall? Fact or opinion? I'd say an opinion. Because they're not defining what average in what.
Yeah.
Just like how many laws they passed or how popular they were, or so we couldn't verify that. We don't know who's ranking. So those are opinions about presidents. The core of the pencil is made out of graphite and clay, not lead. Is that verifiable? We got a fact for that? Is that your fact, Dee? Is it verifiable? Could you
I mean, you could
test
look at
it?
Yeah, you could look at it. Yeah.
And see what it was? Then
Yeah.
it is a fact. It might not be true though. but they're presenting it as a fact. It is always better to use a ballpoint pen rather than a pencil when taking notes in class. That's an opinion, that's a personal preference. We haven't found the F and O yet. In the late 1800s, it was common for American children under 15 to work in mines, in factories, and in the homes of the wealthy. Common is the thing, it's hard to, like, what's common? But it's got, you can verify that the children were working. And then you would see, oh, there was a lot of children working, so you could say it was common, not the most factual word, but we'll go with fact on that one. It's not like someone saying, oh, they shouldn't have been working, or, you know.
Putting their input in there.
Yeah. In the 20th century, child labor, I heard that, I just read an article saying that child labor is coming back because there's a loophole that agricultural workers can be kids,
Oh,
and there's
really?
more of them. Yeah. There was a loophole in that, in those child labor laws, that kids can work on farms.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Let me know where.
And it's coming back. Huh?
I said, let me know where so I can send my little nieces and nephews.
And then around overseas, of course, they have different laws, and there's a lot of children working. In the 20th century, give me 1 year in the 20th century, please.
1999.
1999, get. In the 20th century, child labor laws put a stop to such outrageous practices as having 5-year-olds working 16 hours a day. So we see one of those kind of preference opinion words, but we also see some other things in there, which is labor laws put a stop as for 5-year-olds working 16-hour days. What do we think? Wow, 5-year-olds
Probably
working.
the vote.
Yeah, this is our both one, right?
Mhm.
5-year-olds working 16 hours a day. Aw. I read this book about this little weaver in India. They tie them to the loom and make them weave rugs. And so ever since then, I have been like not buying rugs that I didn't know were child labor free. It's actually slavery. Anyway, these little kids with their little fingers can make like beautiful rugs. All right, good. So I'm gonna leave you guys to do the next ones. And then go ahead with until the end, and then we'll look at some of these skills. So some people need me to scroll down. So let me know who needs me to, who can't get on campus and needs me to scroll down. Because this is on campus, right?
Oh, is that?
Yeah, so if you look. Let me know by chat if you need me to scroll, and then I can scroll when you're ready.
If on canvas?
Yeah, it's in our summer scramble.
What is the under, like, language arts? Oh, okay.
It's not the easy warm up, it's the other one.
Highlight one.
Ortiz, hi. I'm not sure who that is. So if you need me to scroll down, let me know, please. Otherwise, get on Canvas and you can open it in there.
Oh, I think I've got it wrong.
Let me see.
Yeah, this is. Right, so I'm having.
Everybody get the document out of Canvas? We can work on this.
So just the master test too?
Yeah. Just the both of the tests, yeah. Hang on just a second, I'm sorry, I just went somewhere. With that, looking up that book, let me get back to where we were with the screen share. What happened to it? It left. Sorry about that. You did A and B. Mastery test two.
I just thinking.
They do A and B at mastery test two. I put the book in the chat. There's several different ones, they're all good. There's improving, there's advancing, doesn't really matter. And I looked so you could find it used, because it is quite expensive new. If you wanted to purchase that book, it would be well worth your while. Yeah, you don't really want to go to college and like pay for remedial reading, you know, you want to go where your money is getting you actual credits, you know, towards your associate's degree if you're going to go to community, so. It's okay to go to remedial reading in college, but it's more ideal to not have to, and then you get more for your buck, more bang for your buck. You win. Now we'll go to, I'll scroll down to the second one. if you're done with mastery test A and B, you can go down and do the practice question. Did you sign in? I mean, did you get on Zoom?
Oh, yeah, I can't.
It's the beach.
How do you get that?
You'll find it. It's highlight one. How are we doing? Are we finished with?
What time is it at? 12?
11:30. Are you finished with the second one? Let's go down to the practice question. If you're hopefully finished with the second one. B. Did you finish practice question? How many people are finished the practice question? Let me see.
You've all got second highlight one, but the second one. Nope, go back up. Under language arts. Go down. And then the second one. This? Yeah.
So leave that up on the screen for a moment and then we'll go over the answers.
And it was highlight, go back to the other screen. One with the Zoom.
Oh, Zoom.
Yeah.
All right, how many people are done with the practice question? Yes, yes, yes. I know you're not, Tashina. Why don't you do that one first, and then you can go back and do the other ones right before the end of class today. So keep that tab open. But let's look at the practice question. Do you want to read that for us?
The civil rights movement of the 1950s and 1960s inspired historians to how do you say that? Reinterpret slavery's impact on U.S. societies in general, on African Americans in particular.
Interpretation.
One interpretation that emerged was that slaves and owners were always in conflict and that slavery was destructive. The extent of slavery's destructiveness was debated. Some historians argue that slavery destroyed the culture and self-respect of the slaves and their descendants. Others thought that the slaves overcame hardship by developing a unique African American culture that included, among many different things, strong religious and musical traditions. Based on the paragraph, which of the following statements is an opinion rather than a fact?
Right, thank you. So interpretation, right there, you know that they're taking that's what historians do. They take a whole bunch of facts, and then they interpret them and make a theory. So you see two theories here, right? So interpretation or reinterpret. So people have interpreted slavery probably ever since it was started. In America, let's just limit it to that because there was slavery in Africa and other places and still is. But they're reinterpreting. Is back and again, right? Reverse the card, move back, revisit, you go back again and visit again. So that's reinterpret. And then we have, so we have two theories here. But it's about the extent of slavery's destructiveness was debated. All right. The civil rights movement took place during the middle of the 20th century. Fact or opinion? Fact. The civil rights movement caused historians to take another look at slavery. Let's leave that as a maybe, because that's the first sentence says inspired historians to reinterpret slavery. Historians debated slavery's negative effects on slaves and their descendants. Slavery distorts the culture of slaves, diminishing their self-respect. Okay, so we know A is out. What about D? Is that a fact or is that an opinion?
As an opinion.
That is one of the theories, which is one of the opinions. So yeah, that is an opinion. Some people think that, and some people don't. It's a matter of preference of how you want to interpret the facts. Historians debated slavery negative effects on slaves and their descendants. Could you prove that they debated it? And can you prove that they were actually like having a debate? You know, like they wrote this and the other person wrote that, and then the other person no, and then the other person yes, and
If they wrote it down on the.
yeah, if they wrote it down, which is what historians do.
Yeah.
I mean, they have conferences and stuff where they give papers, but it's usually always written. So yes, we could prove that, so that would be a fact. And then the civil rights movement caused historians to take another. Did the civil rights movement cause historians to take another right? They're like, oh my God, the civil rights movement. I have to take another look at slavery. You know, does it actual causal? You know what I mean? Like cause and effect, like, oh, civil rights movement, oh, historians are rethinking the terrors of slavery. So that would not be a factual thing. You couldn't prove that that caused them to do it. So what's the best answer for, we got it kind of sorted out, fact and opinion. Which one is the opinion? D. Yeah, D says D. I think she's directly correct. Everybody agree with that? Okay. So this is the kind of question where, what if you didn't like really know what reinterpret meant? You have to stop for a second, guys, and look at that word and try to suss it out a little bit, right? So you'd say like as I said, was back or again. Interpret. So you'd say like, I never heard reinterpret, but now I see that they're saying like it means do it again. And then they go down here and say interpretation. So interpretation implies an opinion. You're taking facts and you're interpreting. That's what historians do. They're very careful about their facts, but then they make a theory. And if they have enough facts, other historians will be like, yeah, you proved it. But it's still an interpretation or a theory or an opinion. Okay, let's look. Oh, let me go up here. So let's go over the other ones. Mastery test 2. So we have one combination of fact and opinion. The globefish keeps from being eaten alive by gulping so much water that it becomes too large to be swallowed by its enemies. Is that provable? Yes, says Charity. Yeah, they just watch the behavior. We're like, yeah, that's what it does. 2, the globefish is nature's strangest creature. Fact or opinion?
Opinion.
Opinion. Comic strips are never suitable reading for young children. Fact or opinion? What do you think? Suitable. Is that provable that it's suitable?
Opinion.
Opinion. And you guys, there's for the GED, there's some words that like are usually, well, I just said usually never, but always, never, none, and all are very rarely true. It's very rarely true that something is always the case, never the case, that all people or none. So keep that in mind. Those are usually wrong answers.
All, none, and what?
All, none, always, and never are kind of like trigger words for not, that's not the right answer because those things don't exist really very much in reality, you know. Suitable, that's a matter of opinion if it's suitable, right? Suitable according to who? It's kind of an opinion word right there. In 1907, the San Francisco Chronicle began publishing the first daily comic strip, Mr. Mutt, later named Mutt and Jeff. Is that provable?
Yep.
What is it? Fact or opinion?
Fact.
Fact. Sushi, a Japanese dish, usually consists of rice and uncooked fish. Is that provable?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can say, what's the dish usually? Maybe not always, but usually.
Yeah.
So that's provable. You go into enough Japanese restaurants, go, you know, what is sushi? They'd say, "Oh, we have this rice, we have this fish. It's so good, huh? Do we have one in Flagstaff? I think we do. People who refuse to eat sushi are missing a delicious taste experience. Opinion, maybe they don't think it's delicious. That's personal preference. Refuse to eat sushi like they're being forced. Americans have become much too concerned about material success and owning things. Fact or opinion? Number one, it's saying Americans like all of them, so you know that's not possible. There's a lot of people aren't materialistic. They can't afford to be. So much too concerned is, what is that, a fact or an opinion? You know, much too concerned. What does that mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's an opinion. It's very hard to prove if someone's concerned about something, right? You can ask, but you know, it's still like too concerned. Are you too concerned? You know what I mean? Studies show that Americans use as much as 50% of their paychecks to pay back consumer loans. Oy vey. Is that true? Does that mean, is that a fact?
Fact.
I hope it's not true. Fact, it can be proven or not. For their clothing alone, consumers each year pay out millions of dollars that should go instead to such worthy projects as healthcare research and housing for the homeless. Which one is that? Lauren, are you there? What do you think? Opinion? Perhaps, but I see that, yes, I think you're on the right track. However, should, who said should, says who? Right? Should go instead to worthy projects. So that's, I think that's our combo, yeah. That's our fact and opinion. So yes, they do pay out millions of dollars for clothing. We could prove that by looking at their income and their sales, you know, the sales. But they also saying should go instead. Well, maybe you should go to worthy projects, but maybe they, you know, that's opinion, what something should go to.
So that's the combo.
That's the combo. It is time for Americans to become less selfish and contribute more to the community. Fact or opinion? We've got an opinion. Victoria says it's opinion. Less selfish. I mean, even that is like, how do you prove someone's selfish? You know what I mean? Less selfish. Maybe they're selfish in some ways and very not selfish in other ways. You know, maybe they're taking care of like their sister's kid, but they don't give into any charities. You know what I mean? So that's an opinion. Let's look at this one. Again, we have one combo. Cats are much easier to care for than dogs. Fact or opinion? Wouldn't it depend on the person? Like some people don't like dogs, they're scared of them.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, go
They-
both ways.
They'd be like really hard to take care of a dog, you're scared of it. And some people don't like cats at all.
Yeah.
So it depends on the person. So what are we gonna give that one?
It's true, but it's an opinion, so it would be the combo.
Is it true though?
Yeah.
Cats, I mean, generally kind of true, but on the other hand, I think it really depends on the person. Some people may not, like, pregnant women can't empty cat boxes. Because there's like a little of a virus in there that, so like. They would be really hard for them. I think much easier to care for is an opinion. Much, also much easier, like how much is much? Is, you know what I mean? How much is much easier? You can't take cats with you either. You have to find someone to take care of them. What a pain. If there's nobody living there. A cat once fell from a building's 20th floor and suffered only a pelvic fracture. Can we prove that? We can't?
I mean, yeah, I can prove that.
Yeah, you could prove that. It happened. It could be the vet bill. You could prove it. That's a what? Sheena, fact or opinion? Fact. The Model T Ford was the most significant invention of the 20th century. Opinion. Says who? You know what I mean? Some people think it's the worst thing that ever happened. Because it used all the fossil fuels. Now we have all the carbon in the atmosphere. Maybe significant just means important, but most significant. So those are the kind of opinion words you see like that, like significant or important or easy. In 1924, the Model T Ford could be purchased for $290. Fact or opinion? Can you look it up? Can you verify it? Is there records of sales? Yes. What is it? F or O? Fact. Bessie Smith, known as the Empress of Blues, was killed in a car accident in 1937. Speaking of Model T Fords. Is that verifiable? Can we check it? Can we fact check? Yes, fact. No singer alive today could sing better blues than Bessie Smith did. Opinion. The first bathing suits for women were created in the mid 1800s. Can we check? Fact check. Yes, that's a fact. I mean, I'm not crazy about that one because what if like in Egypt, like maybe they had bathing suits way back, you know, but anyway, we'll let that one ride. They probably mean in the United States. Invented by man, they were ridiculous looking, high-necked costumes that included knee-length skirts, elbow-length sleeves, black stockings, and shoes. So what about that one? Is it a mixture? Is it? What happened to those cute ones? These are a little bit later in the 20s. But they're still pretty modest compared to bikinis. Anyway, what about that one, guys? Is that? What is that? What would you put? What did you put? Tell me what you put. What'd you put, D?
OF.
Because it does have some facts that they have the knee-length skirts. You could
And
look
then
at
they put in their opinion of ridiculous.
ridiculous is a very strong opinion where it's good. Yeah. Once the suits became wet, they could weigh as much as the bather. Oh my God. And there is evidence they may have caused drowning on one or more occasion. Fact or opinion? Can you prove it? You know, you look in the newspaper, see if that happened. Prove it. Fact or opinion, guys? Tashina, fact or opinion? Evidence, that sounds like facts, no?
Yeah.
Are you with me on that? Are you texting someone?
Me, no, I'm trying.
You're trying. Some people learn by drawing. I actually take a lot of pictures when I read. I like to draw diagrams of things, but only a man could have invented something so impractical for women. Come on, you guys, that's easy. Only a man could have invented it? Come on. A woman could have. Right? So that's an opinion. That's kind of funny. I don't think I go with that, but anyway. Women wanted to be modest too. Well, they were forced into being very modest. They didn't necessarily want to, but okay, good. Okay, now I'm gonna up the ante a little bit, guys, because you guys are, I think you're pretty strong with this. I think they're a little shaky. How many people feel a little shaky on this? Anybody? I think you're could be a little stronger. So I'll put another one up there for you guys to work on if you feel shaky. You can do that on Wednesday or Thursday. Let me go back to our language arts. And we'll look at another one. So I'm going to up the ante here, as they say. Should be able to. Hang on just a second. Down. I know I can do this. Hang on just a second. Give me a moment. I got a little tech thing here I got to work out. All right, so I'm gonna up the ante a little bit. It's also something, this is on the wall in the classroom. And we did go over this the prior semester. Were you here for this, Tashina? Okay, so this is kind of another way to think about how to recognize when people are bringing bias to a situation. And that usually, well, it implies an opinion, right? But the opinion in this case is based on one of these cognitive biases. Okay, so what's cognitive? Anybody? Whoever drew that yellow thing, can you get rid of it?
I think it's just you that can do that, no?
I didn't draw it. I think, I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Maybe I'll try to get rid of it. No. I think the person who drew it has to get rid of it. Anyway, what's cognitive mean? If we don't know, look it up on another tab, guys. What does it mean? Cognitive. That's a very important word these days. You see it a lot. What does it mean?
Relating.
Mental action, basically thinking. Yeah, thinking. Mhm. Cognitive. So these are people, how they think. You know, it's kind of like how they have opinions as well, but their bias is coming in to things that will make their opinion biased, basically less valuable. So let's look at a couple of these, and I want you guys, as we're looking at these, to choose one that you think is like maybe your bias. And then after we're done, I want you to write a short paragraph about how you how your behavior sometimes in a situation would show this bias, or just how you might think about something with bias, or just anything that comes to mind regarding the biased. Okay, so this is a bit heavy. Let's give you guys to look at some of this kind of good vocabulary. All right, so we're going to look down. This word heuristic is, I've always found it a bit challenging. Could you look that up, Dee? You know how there's some words you've seen them a lot, but they just don't stick? Heuristic. Your judgments are influenced by what springs most easily to mind. That's not really rational, right? It's like maybe you just heard something yesterday and you're like, oh, that's the case, you know, because somebody just said that. Or you just saw a TV ad and you're like, yeah, but all the other TV ads you saw were against that law and you're just jumping to the most recent thing. What's heuristic?
What definition do you want me to look up?
Heuristic, Heuristic. Can you,
I said it and then my text it said harassed. Oh,
stop helping me. Can you read the definition, please, Tashina, of availability? Let's just forget about heuristic. Let's just be availability. So it's like the last thing you heard, you're like, yeah, that's it. You know, like carrots cause constipation. I saw that on YouTube today. Whoa, that's it. Well, wait, what about all the other times when they say that carrot is great because it has fiber and it is good for your digestion? So you're just jumping on the most recent thing. Can you read that? Tashina?
what?
Can you read the definition of availability heuristic?
Search it or
Just read it from the document.
your judgments are influenced by what springs most easily to mind.
Yeah, go on.
How recent, emotionally powerful, and unusual are take them seem more relevant. Then this in turn can cause you to apply them to anything. Try to gain different perspective and less statistical information rather than relying on fresh judgments.
Emotive, that's kind of a fancy way of saying emotional. Okay, there's that one. Belief bias. If a they have these funny icons, right? If a conclusion supports your existing beliefs, you rationalize anything that supports it. It's difficult for us to set aside our existing beliefs to consider the true merits of an argument. And this practice means our ideas become impervious, fancy word, resistant to criticism. They're perpetually reinforced, so they just keep over and over again. Right? Like gay people make terrible parents. Okay, maybe that's because you're went to church and they said that. So every time you just like, no matter how sweet the gay couple might be, you're like, no, terrible, 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 something like that. It is difficult to us to set aside our existing beliefs to consider the true merits of an argument. In practice, this means that our ideas become impervious. Oh, we just read that. A useful thing to ask is, when and how did I get this belief? So does anyone think that this might be theirs? Like you have a belief and you just never let go of it, even though you kind of think maybe it's wrong, right? Or like an opinion about someone, you just won't change it no matter what they do, like that. That's one. Groupthink. Oh, that my family was so groupthink. Like everybody had to think the same way. It drove me nuts. You could not express another opinion, but the group opinion. Dissent. Very good word. Means not against something. Against the norm. Dissent can be uncomfortable and dangerous to one's social standing. So often, the most confident or first voice will determine the group's decision. Or if there's like a matriarch or patriarch, they're like, they get to say, you know what I mean? Like granny. Sometimes that's better than maybe some immature people, but it's still kind of like not everybody feels forced to agree, right? Rather than openly contradicting others, seek to facilitate objective means of evaluation. Critical thinking practices as a group activity. Well, that's great. So that might be you. Do you have a family group think, or like your friends, everybody thinks the same way and you can't like think differently? Okay, optimism bias. This seems pretty cool, but you overestimate the likelihood of positive outcomes. If thinking benefits to a positive attitude, it's unwise to allow such an attitude to adversely affect our ability to make rational judgments. Like, oh, we can climb up there and get back by dark. We'll make it down the mountain, and then just like, you didn't. Adversely is also a nice fancy word. Negatively affect our ability to make rational judgments. They're not mutually exclusive. I'm not going to go there right now, but basically what they're saying is you can be positive and not rational. They don't exclude each other. To make you think that, rational can't be positive, can be or cannot be. If you make a rational, realistic judgments, you have a lot more to feel positive about. Well, that's cool. Reactants. You'd rather, this is like teenage kind of thinking. You'd rather do the opposite of what someone is trying to make you do. That's very, kind of teenage, adolescent thinking. When we feel our liberty is being constrained, or our inclination is to resist. However, in doing so, we can overcompensate. Be careful not to lose objectivity when someone's being coercive, another great word, manipulative, or trying to force you to do something. Wisdom springs from reflection, folly from reaction. Yeah, a lot of people just react. Like, I remember when I was a teenager, it was like, I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like this. But then later I was like, well, wait, I'm just reacting to my family's values. What about me? Like, that was just reacting. It wasn't very creative. I was just saying, no, 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 no. That was me personally. I was a horrible teenager. So that one might be you. Think about that. And let's go up to curse of knowledge. Once you understand something, you presume it to be obvious to everyone. I doubt we have that many people. I don't know, maybe you guys have the curse of knowledge. I don't. We build complex networks of understanding, forget how intricate the path to our available knowledge really is. That's kind of an intense one. When teaching something new, go slow and explain like they're 10-year-olds. Repeat the key points and facilitate active practice. Okay, that's for teachers. Patronizing. Patra is father in Latin and probably Italian, and I think Spanish. So it's like you're kind of acting like I'm your dad and I'm going to tell you, patronizing. It's a good word. Some good words in here, yeah. I don't know if anybody feels like they have the curse of knowledge. Like, I know everything about this, and so you get like kind of snobby. Self-serving. You believe your failures. Oh, this is a good one. To me, you believe your failures are due to external factors, and yet you're personally responsible for your successes. That's a good one. So like, it wasn't my fault, wasn't my fault, wasn't my fault. And then when you do something, you're like, yes, I'm so all that. Look at me, I'm great. That's a common thing. A lot of things are due to external factors. We still have to try our best, right? Successes and failures. It's kind of like being in the right place at the right time. How are you going to know that? That's just part of fate. That's my opinion on that. Many of us enjoy unearned privileges, luck, and advantages that others do not. It's easy to tell ourselves that we deserve all these things whilst blaming circumstance when things don't go our way. When judging others, be mindful of how the bias interacts. Let's not read that. Self-serving. So you're like, when it suits me, it was mine. I can take credit for it. When it doesn't, I can't. Anybody feel like that's them? It's hard to take responsibility for your failures, but sometimes it's not you. It was just the conditions. The same with your successes. But a lot of people don't want to take responsibility for their failures. Again, it might be just circumstances too, didn't line up properly. Negativity. You allow negative things to disproportionately influence your thinking. The pain of loss and hurt are felt more keenly and persistently than the feeling of gratification of pleasant things. Now that's an opinion if I ever heard one, but that's interesting, right? Do we feel more pain when bad things happen than we do like happiness when good things happen? We tend to kind of go for the negative. We are primed for survival, and our aversion, which is our dislike to pain, can distort our judgment for a modern world. Pro and con list, as well as thinking in terms of probabilities, can help you evaluate things more objectively than relying on a cognitive impression. Yeah, I like pro and con lists. So negativity bias, you tend to see things negatively, and so you don't think rationally anymore. You get bummed out, and you don't think clearly. Similar to the pessimism bias, you overestimate the likelihood of negative outcomes. There's some people like that, it's like, oh, that's not going to work. We're going to have we're never going to get lost, or right. I'm never going to be able to finish this on time, or you know what I mean? I'll never be able to do that. Pessimist is often a defense mechanism against disappointment. So you say like, it's not going to work because you don't want to be disappointed. Or it can result in depression and anxiety disorders. Perhaps the worst aspect of pessimism is that even if something good happens, you'll probably feel pessimistic about it anyway. That's really sad. Like, oh yeah, I passed that test, but I'm not going to pass the other ones. Forget it. Won't happen. This one is crazy. Spotlight effect. You overestimate how much people notice how you look and act. Most people are much more concerned about themselves than they are about you. Absent overt prejudices, people generally want to like and get along with you. It gives them validation too. So I think, yeah, a lot of people are very, what they call self-conscious and, nervous around other people being judged, right? But they're saying they're probably not paying that much attention to you as you think, and they actually want to like you and get along with you. They don't want to be like, you suck, get out. They actually prefer to get along with people. Instead of worrying about how you're judged, consider how you make others feel. They'll remember this much more, and you'll make the world a better place. I mean, this is kind of interesting. I think I think is I don't know if I buy everything that's being said in these, but I think they're interesting. You've got 4 minutes to just pick one and just free write 2-3 sentences about it. Okay. And if anyone could put that in the chat, I would love. Okay, Victoria, can you do this? I think she might be gone. Victoria, are you still here? Yeah, if someone can put what they think their bias is, and maybe an example of how they acted that way recently. Charities, I'll share this. I am pessimism biased because I have mental health issues that I've struggled with almost all my lives. That makes a lot of sense. You have suffered, so you probably think, yes, I will continue to be suffering. Pessimism is based on your past history of struggling with mental illnesses and that kind of suffering that happens and the confusion that sometimes happens, depression, sometimes whatever it might be. Excellent. Thank you, Charity.
Mine's out of optimism bias. I'm going to do all of my laundry today. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna get it done, but I never got it done. Is that kind of like the thing?
Yeah, it's like you always sort of
Is it
take
one
the
of
high
these
road, like I could do, yeah.
So
You're
I
not
took-
thinking carefully, like I have 8 loads.
So that was my
Mhm.
Friday. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do my laundry. I didn't do it. I found I put it away last night, but it was like there all weekend.
So you do that a lot where you think like,
No, it was my first time. It was like my first time, like my laundry just like didn't want to touch it. Like didn't want to bother it. That would be-
that might be tired by. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Anybody else? Tashina? Throw it in the chat. Which one? Or just tell us out loud.
Other in the chat.
Okay. This is about opinions and why people form opinions, but sometimes they're not really valid opinions. Because they're working with these biases. Let's look up the word bias. While we're waiting for Tashina's.
Oh, I looked up the, what is it called? Heuristic?
Yeah,
It's like teaching other people.
okay, teaching. Yeah. Let's look at bias. Bobby. Yeah. Prejudice in favor or against one thing, person or group compared with another, usually considered to be unfair. You know, a lot of biases, like sort of ethnic, people be like, I had this friend, she's like, oh, she's Romanian. Oh, they're all crazy, they're all irrational, they're gypsies. I'm like, wait, you can't, no. That's a bias, prejudice, distortion, that's for statistics. To cause or show inclination or prejudice for against something or someone. So in this case, we're sort of what our ideas are. We have biases. What did you say, Tashina? Let's take a look. I'm pessimism biased because I got mental issues and been through a lot, similar to Charity. So you tend to take the dark view before something happens. We've got Sunny D over here. Okay, I think I have the spotlight effect. That's kind of like what it's like teaching, because actually spotlight is kind of on me and I'm like, oh, good. But sometimes I think people are paying more attention to me than they are, you know what I mean? Bit egoistic. I think I have the spotlight effect. So good job, everybody. All right, so we'll come back tomorrow and work on another kind of a grammar thing tomorrow.
I learned how to do the marking. I learned how people are using the marker.
But we don't know how to get rid of it.
Well,
Yeah, I did that, but I don't know how to get
Oh,
rid of
you
it.
did? Okay,
Yeah.
so let's see, wait, so,
Take
yeah.
care, everybody.
Oh, yeah, let's see. I just figured it out.
Okay.
I was like. Is it me that did it? And then see right here, this little mark thing, and then it clicks up here,
What did you do?
and you just click on. Oh, I don't think you did it. Did you? Maybe you put some.
Oh, I do.
But you didn't do it. Did you do it?
Oh, I thought I did.
I
Yeah,
already
it's
done
fun.
it.
Okay.
That pen was on.
Yeah, see, but, right
Because
here,
I-
you had to get rid of that first. And then go down here, and then here, oh, it'll pop up, see? That pin?
Yeah, oh, wait, yeah, that's what I saw the other, anyway.
Yeah, and then that
Couldn't get rid of the pen,
But she didn't do it, because if it did, it would.
but I was on her computer, so couldn't. Hey, are you memorizing the dates?
Yes, I am.
Plays on Wednesday.
Yes, I do. I was supposed to have it this Saturday, but then, my cousin had a baby, so I was in the hospital. Yeah, so like that. I was like, I have a civics test, and I was like trying so hard to like be there, but I was so tired.
You need to memorize the dates that I think about that.
Ask me a civics question.
Yeah. Yeah, this week I just gotta go do some stuff.
What can you come tomorrow with this one?
Tomorrow, yeah.
So if they're in the campus. Here, come up and I'll show you. Where they are. I'll print it out for you. Cause I want everyone to.
This is all we
Bye.
have today for class.
Huh?
This is all we have for class today.
It's a short semester. I mean, it's a short,